woke up for Aerosmith. It was awesome. It was a great concert.
First time was in the 6th grade with a couple of neighborhood boys. Ever since then, it's all she wrote.
First time I was in college, and I don't think I really felt it the first time, but there was one time we smoked out of an apple, and man, I was so high. I've never laughed that much in my life before, bro. It was crazy.
Hold on, man, an apple, bro?
Hey, man, that's college.
That is college, man.
You haven't done an apple before?
I never done an apple, so that's why I was like, an apple, I ain't even think about that.
You need your fruits, man. You need to have your fruits.
The only vegetable I need is right here, it's green.
I guess on the subject of also smoking, did any of you guys smoke while you guys were active in the league?
Yes.
Unanimous, all 4 of y'all.
Yeah. I used it throughout my career, definitely for sleep, big for me, and just pain management as well. Just trying to recover, relax, and decompress.
When you coming back on that plane ride or the night before the game, giving you the Ambien. You know, I'm like, I ain't trying to get addicted on it. I'd rather just roll me one up, smoke, go to sleep, and I can sleep peaceful. Like, I wake up thinking about plays I'm gonna make in the game on Sunday. Like,
It was very helpful for me. It was very helpful for like anxiety, stress, you know, the pain management. Obviously, that's a no-brainer.
So how many of y'all played while high? It was just you, Sean? What did it feel like?
unstoppable. You seen the movie Above the Rim?
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know
Tupac,
what I mean? When he got in the zone?
Yeah.
That's how I literally am on the field.
Yeah.
It's like it was no stopping me. That mellowed me out, got me going, and it's the best thing for me.
What was that ritual?
Smoke 2 blunts before every game. Sit in the bathtub with some Epsom salt, play my music, smoke, eat breakfast with my family and my kid's wife. I fire up on the way to the stadium, go through the bad neighborhoods or whatever team I was playing with to the city and just reflect. Like, that's my motivation. I'm blessed to be in this position to get up and go do what I love. By the time kickoff comes, I'm just at ease where I'm ready now. I'm piling. I'm floating.
Sean's the only one that said he's played while high. Has anyone else even thought about it?
I don't know, it was more like a relaxing for me. I feel like if I played high, I'll just be like I'll be giving up a bunch of sacks. You know, I play offensive line.
That boy thought he heard something.
Like,
Ringo.
Like, what's going on? You know what I mean? I need to be able to react.
I thought you said I said Leo.
Missing calls, you gotta think too much on offensive line.
That's the thing. I play defensive line, man. I either go left or right, man.
Did any of you guys fail a drug test in the NFL?
In college, I did. Yeah. I was just smoking during the break. You know when you're supposed to stop?
Yeah.
And I just kept going, and they did the thing like they were roll. We came back, and like out of nowhere, they're like, "Okay, yeah, and drug test," and the doctor comes up and he's calling out the names or whatever, and like Moffitt, and everyone in the room is just like, "Oh," like it was like I was already done. Yeah, I took it, and they were like, my coach called me in. And he was like, your levels were literally like the highest like we've ever tested.
So the NBA tests 4 times a year. In the NFL, what are the tests like and when does it happen?
Yeah, it's one time a year, usually in the springtime after, before OTAs or right after OTAs start. You know, they usually do it by groups, you know, position groups. So, you know, guys are always hoping to be in that first group. Some guys have to wait all the way till July, you know, which is upsetting to some guys, but.
Why is it upsetting?
You know, the rest of your teammates is on it, so you want to be able to be on it too. So, you know, like you said, the NFL knows what's going on. If you fail a test, though, you know, you're subject to getting tested, you know, 10, 20 times a month. You know, so the punishment is harsh. And then if you fail a test again, and again, and again, you know, then money starts getting involved. They start taking away games, so.
And there's only one test, right? So, in a way, the NFL is kind of like, they're kind of just being like, okay, you know, they're just looking away. Yep. But so that's why I think like things like this is what's important because it's breaking the stigma. It's really just the stigma and power. I mean, they could just be like, let's get rid of that one test, but really most guys can clean it up for that amount of time and still have it during the season. I think they know that.
So how many people do you think smoke in the league? What percentage do you think?
Probably 80.
80%?
At least 80%. Shoot, the coaches do it. The personnel people upstairs do it. Quarterbacks that do it. Captains, your leaders of the team, smoke as much as I do, might even smoke more than me.
When you tested in OTAs and you passed the drug test, what happened afterwards?
Shoot. What happened after?
You already know what happened.
When I walk in and I see my name, oh, I'm one of the first ones. Pull my phone out, call my plug. I was at the house by the time I get out of practice. That's how you get through training camp.
I remember the trainer came to me one time, like, you getting tested today? And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Try to keep a straight face. And he's like, yeah, you getting tested today.
You come in the locker room dancing. They're like, oh, he got tested. Oh, I hope they get us. Oh, you think they gonna get us tomorrow?
There's been times where you go on the floor during the training camp hotel, and it's it's loud.
Everybody do it. And everybody has their reason. They use it for their pain, but he's a big guy. We all are big guys. Our body hurts.
I've heard like that Monday morning feels awful. So is Monday morning like you guys just getting up, rolling something up and smoking real quick, or what was the Monday morning like for y'all?
It's like a car wreck, essentially. Like every weekend, it's like a car wreck, and you start feeling better about Friday or Saturday. It's just, it takes a few days to recover and start feeling like you can play again.
Tuesday's usually like the day you really feel it because you got all these drugs that you put in yourself just to play, the Toradol, the Advil and all that stuff. So that stuff hasn't even worn off you by Monday.
So how long does it take to wear
Usually
off?
like Tuesday, you come and you wake up, you like, man, like the game was a couple days ago, but that stuff is, finally out your system now, so you really get to feel the effects from this past Sunday. I had an injury plague journey just to the NFL, tore my ACL 3 times. So I had been on a prescription drug route early in my life. And I was in a dark place, and I wasn't feeling good, and they were giving me those things readily. So it was easy for me to start smoking and receiving the benefits of marijuana as a viable option opposed to the prescription drug. So I think people overlook that this is a medicine and it's a healing medicine, and the rhetoric hasn't always supported that. I mean, I use these topicals all the time, on my knees, on my shoulders, on my back.
I was just about to say
all that type of stuff.
Is that for the pain that you experience in the leg that you still deal with?
Yes. So, pain, arthritis, any inflammation, there's stuff all for these type of things.
Yeah, I was just about to say the anti-inflammatory, but them topicals, oh man, like my granny, I gave some to my granny and she's calling me all the time, hey, do you have some more of that cream? Because it really works.
The CBD is a huge market now, and the CBD is without the psychoactive effects of the THC. So that's what CBD is. So now you're getting the effects of cannabis, but you're not getting the psychoactive effects that make you feel high.
Going on the subject of concussions, raise your hand if you have suffered a concussion in the NFL. 3 or 4 of y'all. Have any of y'all smoked while having the concussion to try and help?
I did smoke, but I wasn't doing it. I didn't think of connecting it with the concussion as being healing. I just was always, I was kind of smoking.
You just smoking.
It was like, yeah, it's a concussion or not, it's happening. I don't know, I would hope, I've heard the similar things that you were saying about the lubricating kind of thing, you know what I mean? But like it kind of covers your brain or it helps with swelling. I've heard the same thing. And so I would hope that smoking did kind of offset it to an extent.
Did you ever think you'd be on Bleacher Report high, smoking?
No, I did not. Because I feel like you guys have reported me for smoking weed and stuff. I thought it was a trap for a long time.
Right. What y'all really up to, man?
No, man, this ain't no trap, man. We just trying to figure out what the deal is, man.
No,
Everything's been so hush-hush about it, like.
They want the inside, they want the real. Everybody's been being hush-hush and being fake. I mean, only way people gonna find out about something if you speak about it and talk about it, because if not, you keep it like it's a secret. How else is it gonna expand and evolve for the world to everybody understand what cannabis actually does for you?
So the next CBA is 2020, right? And I think it's just something that's just gotta be on the table.
It's a big change. It's not something simple, but the conversation needs to get started. The facts and the resources need to be brought together, and the wheel just needs to start spinning more.
But Bo, I mean, you honestly have an opportunity right now to speak to Commissioner Goodell with the shoot. Like, what would you tell him right now about marijuana?
Just, we've been demonizing this plant for so long, so just take the time to do the research, to educate yourself.
Ryan, if you had a chance to talk to Roger Goodell about NFL players using cannabis, what would you tell him?
I think I would just tell him that, I feel like you guys already know there's a ton of players who smoke marijuana. We've only get tested once a year, and why have that once a year test when you know, it's so beneficial to all the players who use it.
And we speaking with good intention anyway. You know,
Absolutely.
we're not serious. I'm speaking to help my brothers, to help people who are suffering from the same things that we suffer. The NFL was a vehicle for us, and now it's giving us this platform to speak. You know, athletes are a powerful force, you know, a powerful force for change, and, you know, sports can get it done.
The perks of fame allow for plenty of Mary Jane for these famous people.
Just got a shipment of the dopest dope I've ever smoked. Hands down, dopest dope I've ever smoked.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 celebrity potheads.
All white people talk about when they get high is other times that they got high.
For this list, we're focusing on celebrities that have gone on record about their continual use of that kush, that green, that gigaweed.
Really blew the dog's mind.
Number 10, Justin Timberlake.
I can't even see right now.
Believe it or not, the man behind the album entitled Future Sex Love Sounds likes to get down with a little Mary Jane. However, Justin Timberlake doesn't puff the magic dragon for inspiration. He reportedly embraces marijuana to briefly escape his thoughts. In a Playboy interview, the pop star noted that sometimes I have a brain that needs to be turned off. Some people are just better high. Hey, maybe that's why JT hasn't faded into obscurity like so many other boy band stars. He allows his brain to rest, quote unquote.
Can't you see the private jets flying over you? Laid back, bumper stickery, what will Hoga do? Jay is chillin', Jimmy is chillin'. What more can I say? We killing them.
Number 9, Morgan Freeman.
Do you ever want to go to space? I really shouldn't be doing this.
Fact. This elderly actor loves him some weed, and he's been pushing for legalization across the board.
I'm sorry.
In 2015,
This is my strain. This is Jack Rare, I buy it in bulk. And it's as simple as this. What this does for me is give me clarity. As soon as I put this in my system, the picture becomes clear. The chemical disruption that's been caused from playing the game of football does not allow me to have clarity. And that's it. At the end of the day, this is resolving things that Wellbutrin couldn't, Depakote couldn't, Zoloft couldn't, Vicodin couldn't, Flexerol couldn't, Ambien couldn't. You're talking 7 pills. Between this and these 7 medications that I was taking daily, is that this had hopelessness, and this is complete hope. Sacred handshake. Playing football, injuries occur, serious injuries occur. It puts you on the operating table and you're never the same. My first major injury was blowing out my knee, completely dislocating my knee, my left knee in college during practice and spring drills. The pharmaceuticals were introduced, and so the painkillers and all those things, the anti-inflammatories, those things became frequent and constant because they were so readily available. I then went to the NFL. The injuries kept coming on, more surgeries, more injuries, more medicines, to where at the end of the day, these things just kept building and they would manifest in these extreme blow-up situations where all the pain, all the frustration, anger would just erupt.
When he went into the NFL, there started to be changes. And after the concussions, I couldn't even talk to him.
We didn't do anything. We didn't go anywhere. We didn't interact with anyone. And when we did, it was always Kyle in the corner and me uncomfortable and me making excuses for Kyle. Oh, well, he doesn't feel good. Oh, or he this. Oh, sorry, he's just a dick. He knew that he was more apt to rage, or it would overtake him to where he couldn't handle situations.
The violence, the rage, all those things kept getting bigger. Participating in football, you need it. You have to have it. If you don't have that, then you're done. You're not going to succeed. And that's what I had. Unfortunately, I couldn't come off the field and leave it at the job.
He would break a table or a chair, lamps. Oh, Jesus, I will not buy a lamp that's cost more than $20 for a long time because at some point, it's gonna go.
I know I'm a scary person when that switch hits. And so very intimidating and again, breaking of furniture and throwing things and being very loud and scary. After my football career, I found myself unconscious on a floor at a venue watching a show one night with my wife.
Oh, it was terrifying. He was perfectly fine. It was a relaxing night. We were just kind of sitting there listening to some live music. He leaned over and put his head on my shoulder, and I'm like, that's like he was going to sleep. Didn't get up, and I'm like, come on, Kyle. Kyle just laid over and passed out and slid down to the ground. I instantly hollered at the bartender to call an ambulance, had no clue what was going on. And it was about 2 minutes later, he kind of woke up and came to.
And I find myself waking up on the floor in a bar, and I then go into a vertigo spin, and it wouldn't end, and ultimately had a seizure and was hospitalized for 3 days. That then spawned the discussion of what happened to my brain. It's very apparent that there's something wrong here. This big blurred mass was alarming everyone, and so they started to, oh, you got a bad brain injury. Just trying to think, what are all these drugs that I've taken since 1996? Wellbutrin, Vicodin, Flexerol, Depakote, Zoloft, Somas, Percocets, Vioxx, morphine, Toradol. Just this right here, that's about 2 hits. And that's all you need that deals with anxiety, depression, light sensitivity, that all of those other ones we're trying to address. I moved back from Tennessee to California because I knew there was something with marijuana. I knew that cannabis had an answer. Was this the answer that I was looking for to fix all my issues? I didn't believe that that was the case, but I was hoping so. I went up to Northern California and got some seeds and planted them, and they're taking off. Then I started to find these strains that when I used that, I was better. I had the best night's sleep I'd had in about 6 months or so. And my energy was back, my motivation was back. This was the strain that actually helped me get off the pills. When I found the San Fernando Valley strain, I immediately knew that I could use this to get off of those. I realized I can wean myself off with using this strain. You know, I got off of 1 pill down to 2. And the further I got away from those, the more I realized how much more cannabis could do for me.
We have just seen unbelievable changes in him. I can now talk to him. He's kind and loving once again. He's like the old Kyle. And I never would have believed it unless I had seen it myself. So now I'm an advocate for cannabis.
Get ready, Dean.
He's a big, bubbly teddy bear. He's kind to everyone and engaging with everyone. And finally now we've got a connection back to where he wants to be a part of people's lives. He wants to help people. He wants to hear your stories. He wants to see how he can help your kid who's going to play football and talk to you about the concussions and the dangers, where that part of his life was shut off for so long.
I don't know how many guys I've talked down from the ledge, ex-NFL players that have called me grown men crying. It's dementia, you know, this is what it is.
I know you're all frightened at the moment.
This is a really good therapeutic room for me to come into. You know, all these are just the memories, the good memories. For me, it's really powerful now and very therapeutic to come in here and sit and, you know, do some work on some other things and just kind of look around, you know, and remember. Because now more than anything, you need those memories. You know, it's tough when the brain's going. A lot of people have that perception of the things I've done and said that I hate football, you know. I mean, I have been probably the biggest advocate for football. I'm looking for solutions to be able to pass this down to my son and how we can help make it better. People keep asking, would I do it again? I'd go back in a heartbeat to do it again. There's no doubt about it.
See you, man.
See you.
You know, the one thing I do miss was just going out and
fucking people up.
Me
too, buddy.
I really didn't care about the money, all the other bullshit. I didn't really care about the running out, hearing the crowd. I never heard them anyway. For some reason, maybe I don't think it bothered me the same way, or maybe I did enough stuff on the front end in terms of, you know, nutrition, training. I learned that nobody was going to look out for me pretty early in my NFL career.
But that's the problem. I mean, the problem is that there's so many of us that are having these same issues, myself included, and you're the only guy that hasn't. And I can say that the only difference was just in what I saw in how you did take care of your body. And for me, that's the real thing of why, I believe cannabis can help the total body, but for me, it's about the mind.
Like my knowledge of marijuana is nothing. What I'm interested in is this idea of strains. My deal is with the marijuana, there needs to be testing. And you know what? If you are going to make painkillers, anti-inflammatories, all these other things available to players, it's hypocritical.
The NFL is pathetic. And when you played in the National Football League and had the opportunity to see behind the curtain, and understand what it is happening and how this league is being run by very scared, ignorant individuals. It's very frustrating.
We'll continue to follow the medicine. Our experts right now are not indicating that we should change our policy in any way. So I don't see any change in the near future.
I think when someone says follow the science, they're full of shit. The science is already there. That's just saying, I don't want to look at it now. That's probably the easy scapegoat. So we need to let the guys in white lab coats work on this for another 10 years. And I'm going to hide behind that excuse for as long as I can. They're going to wait for the FDA trial. It's too late. You're going to have too many guys that'll end up with PTSD or CTE and commit suicide, and there's no reason to wait.
Thank you very much indeed. We looked at the levels of one of the endocannabinoids after brain trauma in mice. And we saw that one of the endocannabinoid, the 2-AG, goes up nearly 10-fold after brain trauma. We strongly believe that these compounds are neuroprotective. Now, why this has not advanced to clinical trials, I have no idea.
We have a very serious problem in our football community, sports community in general. I'm personally trying to vie for clinical trials in football players, and that we have this brain disease that leads to Alzheimer's and dementia and all of these horrific things, that nothing has addressed this injury better than cannabis.
Quite a few years ago, we showed in animals, for some peculiar reasons, it's a little bit difficult to do an experiment with a human to give him something on the head and said, let's see whether it works.
Right. Well, we called it practice.
Yeah, we caused relatively light damage to the brain of mice, and we administered them one of the endogenous cannabinoids, one of those compounds that we produce ourselves, 2-AG. And we found that we could reduce by 50% the damage that was done. And it was published in the major journal of science called Nature. So it's not unavailable, it's there. So here we have strong data showing that a cannabis type compound helps. Once we showed quite a few years ago that 2-AG helps, it should have been done in humans in a clinical trial. And yet, 2-AG has never been administered to a human. Chances are that concussions can be treated with the 2-AG, which is a cannabis that we produce.
Sure.
It's not a plant that people can say, who knows what the effects of the... This is something that we produce. We know it's not toxic. It has never been administered to a human. I can't explain it.
Exactly.
I can't explain it.
Exactly.
And it should be done.
It urges me to go further. It urges me to push more. Because if we have to wait, then nothing's going to happen. And you can't have certain things wait.
You hear so many stories of people saying, well, I had this strain and it worked. And then I went to the store a month later and it was labeled the same thing, but didn't work. Why is that? Well, it's probably not the same strain, actually. There isn't a really ironclad nomenclature system in the field. That's what we're trying to do here, is to change that, is to genetically sequence all of these strains, build a huge genetic database of what strain is what, and track that throughout time.
We've got this one running? All right.
Every person's in fact very different. So when people say THC gets everybody high, well, no, that's not true actually. We all differ by probably 4 to 5 million variants in our genome alone. That means we all have different responses. And there are studies that show this, and unlike children with severe epilepsy, they look as if they're complete zombies, and you put them on CBD and suddenly they're now awake and conscious and they're having conversations with their parents. So you have to ask, are they high? Or are they just pushing their neurotransmitters back to baseline? I think it's the latter.
The NFL is a very conservative sport. Here's this substance that could help. It's everything from Parkinson's to seizures, a litany of medical issues that people are now looking at marijuana as a possible, if not cure, at least management device. And the NFL is refusing it. And the players I've talked to have said, we don't understand this at all. This is an instance where we will have to humanize the people and tell more of these stories for it to really inject itself into the American consciousness.
What's up?
What's happening, man?
Nice.
Yeah, good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you. You're a big
Good to
old
meet you.
dude.
Hey, man, we had to protect you guys.
My dad, Marv.
Marv, how you doing,
Kyle.
sir? Great to meet you. Yeah,
Okay, I'll stay in
great
here.
to meet you.
See.
Thank you. Yeah, he was saying you're having some luck with some CBD products.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
This is I just got for Marv, but I tried it before I gave it to him because it's all CBD. We went to Hawaii together.
Yeah.
And my buddy Eric lives over there, and I took all of his medication, which was like I needed a separate bag for. It was the quantity.
Yeah.
And when I showed up, he had these little pens.
The vape pens?
Yeah. And it was CBD with the THC combination. And I didn't give him a pill for the 7 days he was there, and there was no sleep.
Tens of thousands of Kurds died fighting ISIS.
We're not going to be fighting. We don't want to fight anyway. I don't think there's any reason to.
They died for us and with us and for themselves.
They've got a lot of sand over there, so there's a lot of sand that they can play with.
We don't forget. I don't forget.
It's time for us to come home. We're not a policing agent.
I can tell you that I don't forget. These are great people.
As I said, they're not angels. They're not angels. If you take a look.